one of the most important things people don't pay attention to in life, people really don't want to pay that price for, something called delayed gratification. The ability to want it now but decide that you are going to forego that satisfying that desire for something bigger, for something much more useful, and for something more expansive in the future. You know, the challenge a lot of people face, and why most of us, especially immigrant people, are going to be very broke in different parts of the world where they are, is because they don't understand the power of building. There is a time in your life when you are building, and during that time when you are building, you are delaying the desire to have the things you desire to have at that time, because you want to do the things and be able to have the things in the future that many people cannot have because they didn't plan at that time. Delayed gratification is going to be the most important tool you are going to use if you really aspire to build significant wealth with your life. I feel blessed today. What an awesome day to be alive. Hey, Gustav B. Achu here. And welcome back to the You Are Enough podcast with your host here, Gustav B. Achu. You see, a few years ago, about over a decade ago, I actually took a trip out to Cameroon, to Africa. And it was a trip to go out there for business and spend some time building a life of abundance that I'd always dreamt about. Unfortunately for me, 3 years later, that project didn't work out, and I came back to America broke. I came back dejected, depressed, frustrated, angry, and feeling like a loser. Before traveling to go do business in Africa, I had a home. I had a rental property, had over $150,000 in my savings account. And by the time I came back 3 years later, I was completely beaten. I lost our home to bankruptcy. So we lost our primary home rental property to foreclosure, filed for bankruptcy, paid tens of thousands of dollars to the bankruptcy court, and ended up starting life all over again. Why did I share this intimate information with you? It's to remind you that every circumstance in your life is either a lesson to instruct your future and your destiny, or a crusher to deplete you of your desire, your energy, and your vision, and your belief in yourself. In my case, it took some time to go through the pain, but I used that circumstance as a way to motivate me, as a way to inspire me, as a way to drive me forward to figure out what to do with my life. Because I knew deep in my heart that there was something I was born to deliver on that is unique only to me, and only me can deliver on that in my own style, in my own way. Now, fast forward 10 years from that point, one of the lowest points in my life, because not only the bankruptcy, foreclosing on 2 homes, paying all of this money to the bankruptcy court, also paying some private family debts I owed people. My family had to shop in Goodwill for 3 years. We weren't able to do anything significant. We rented for another 7 years before being able to qualify to buy a home. Because when you file for bankruptcy, you file for foreclosures, it hits your credit significantly. And so when you file for foreclosure, especially, you have to wait out a certain number of years before you can qualify again to buy a home. And we had to wait out 7 years to qualify to buy a home, and during those time it was rough. I had multiple jobs. I was working as a nurse at that time. I had 4 jobs under my belt, and I was working around the clock. But you see, here I am standing right behind me. It's about 5 acres of a piece of land I own on a ranch. And on this ranch has mostly 5 and 10 acre lots, and I own one of the lots here. And I bought this lot about 5 years ago. And when I came here today after many months to just come and check it out, visit around with my neighbors, it just occurred to me that one of the most important things people don't pay attention to in life, people really don't want to pay that price for, is something called delayed gratification. The ability to want it now but decide that you are going to forego that satisfying that desire for something bigger, for something much more useful, and for something more expansive in the future. So if you're working a 9-to-5 job, earning a good paycheck, bringing home some good money, but you are still feeling stuck when it comes to building real wealth, I know exactly how that feels. I used to be that way, chasing the paychecks, adding more jobs on jobs, and I thought bringing big money means I would automatically build wealth. But you know what? It took me two painful layoffs to finally get the lesson, to understand that, Gustav, you were building the wrong way. Gustav, you need to do something else, because what used to be job security is now job insecurity. That wake up call was a few years ago. And since then, I decided I was going to build a brand to help cater to professionals, to immigrants, to hardworking, hungry people like you who want to see something different, who want to make sure that they don't end up broke, to have a platform and a template to work with. And now I want to create something with you in mind, for you and for your needs. A product designed to help guide you on how to invest and see results from that. That's why I'm inviting you to take part in this poll. It's going to be less than 5 minutes for you. Fill the poll, and when you do that, you're going to be automatically entered into benefit 30% of the early bird access for that program. In addition to that, you are going to have exclusive founders only bonus content, a chance to make this historic product, make it personal, your own pathway along with me. So click on the link below and complete the 5 minutes poll, because you know what? I just don't want to build something. I want to build something with you in mind, with you participating and making sure that it meets your needs. I will see you on the inside. And by God's grace, I will see you at the top. You see, along this journey, trying to rebuild my life again after bankruptcy, after foreclosure, bringing myself up to the point where I am today with a net worth of close to $1 million and recovering from that period of my life. What I really learned is that the most important thing on that journey of rebuilding your life and trying to move ahead financially and becoming wealthy is the ability to say no now in order to say yes to everything you desire in the future. It's the ability to realize that there are times in your life when you want it badly, but what separates you from those who are going to be successful, and if you're going to fail, it's the ability to say, I want it badly, but I'm not going to have it now. This 5-acre piece of land 5 years ago when I bought it, it was priced right about $205,000. And if you see behind me, there is a little fence over there, a little fence lot. And so what happened is when I came and looked at the piece of land, I told the real estate, the land broker, I said, listen, I know you're pricing it at $205, but that little fence over there, that is a gas post, which means there is a gas pipeline that runs a little bit at an angle on the land, which means therefore that there is 4 point something acres on one side and about 0.5 on an acre on the other side, and there is a gas pipe. And by the rules of Texas, you can't build a home on that gas pipe. You can only build something like a parking or a little cemented road, so that if they need to access the pipe, they just break the road and they can go down there. So I told the vendor, I said, listen, you're going to give me a discount for that, because I'm not really getting the entire 5 acres in one spot. I have it a little split. And they gave me about a $17,000 to $18,000 discount. So I ended up getting the piece of land for about $180,000 or something like that, right? Fast forward 5 years, and I don't come here very often because I don't live on the ranch yet. But I have a couple of friends who live here. They've bought some land. I got to meet them, my neighbors. I didn't really know them before. But every 6 months or so, I just drive around. I come here and I visit and make sure everything is fair. And believe you me, similar lots next to mine, same size, same location, are already selling for about 4 or 5 times that price. You do the math and you tell me what that is. Now, at the time I bought the lot, I had a couple of different things I could have done with the resources I had at that time. I needed a new car because I actually had been driving a very old car for a long time. I could easily walk into the dealership and probably pay them $30,000, $40,000 and get a new car and drive out of the dealership. I wanted a new car. I was desiring it so bad. But I asked myself a simple question, especially coming from the lessons I learned trying to rebuild my life after bankruptcy and foreclosure. I said, Gustav, you have a choice. You could actually use what you have in your hand as a seed, or you could use it as a fruit. You could use it as a fruit to eat it up at once, or you could use it as a seed to plant it so that it multiplies. You have to understand, when you have resources in your hand, especially money, money is like an apple. You have one apple in your hand, but in that apple are multiple seeds, and in each of those seeds are apple trees, right? And each apple tree that comes from one of those seeds can generate multiple apples, and those apples can generate multiple seeds. So as just visualize, I'm sure you understand what I mean by that. It is actually the power to multiply from one single action, one single sacrifice you make, one single desire that you quench by telling yourself, Gustav, not now. In 5 years, you'll be able to do that. So where I am sitting right now, looking at the piece of land behind me, which is just one of the many assets I have. If I have to sell this place right now, I bought it at about 180,000. If I have to sell this place right now, I'll probably get 4 times that amount of money. What that does is that, yes, I never got my dream car 5 years ago, but now I could easily just go get it cash. I don't have to worry about the payment, and it's not going to affect other things I want to do in my life. That is the power of delayed gratification. I know you've probably heard a lot about that expression, but a lot of people don't take it seriously. A lot of people don't really process it and understand how powerful delayed gratification is. I don't know a single successful, wealthy person in this life who didn't give up that desire at the beginning of their building process. You know, the challenge a lot of people faced, and why most of us, especially immigrant people, are going to be very broke in different parts of the world where they are, is because they don't understand the power of building. There is a time in your life when you are building, and during that time when you are building, you are delaying the desire to have the things you desire to have at that time, because you want to do the things and be able to have the things in the future that many people cannot have because they didn't plant at that time. Delayed gratification is going to be the most important tool you are going to use if you really aspire to build significant wealth with your life. I share these examples not to brag. I share these personal experiences not to necessarily tell somebody out there that I'm better than them. Nothing like that. I share it because I realize it's important to inspire other people. When I look at my own life, I came to America in the year 2000. And between the year 2000 and today, which is 2025, if every month I was investing only $100 in the stock market, I would probably be somewhere over $100,000 today for doing nothing. And if I stopped doing that, the next 15 years, that amount of money is going to duplicate for me, right? That's how we need to think. That's how rich people understand. That's how wealthy people think. There is a saying that poor people think for the night. Rich people think in decades, in years, and wealthy people think in decades. Everything I invest in my life over the last 5 to 7 years, I don't think about 5 years. I think about 10, 15, 20 years. That is how you have to think if you really want to get ahead in this life. You cannot think about next week. You cannot think about next month. You cannot think about next year. You have to think about 10, 15, 20 years. Because, for example, I teach people how to invest on the US stock market, invest in assets and build wealth. And by the way, if you are desirable of that, if you really want to expand your capacity, if you really want to start getting on the path to using what you have as your paycheck to build wealth, there is a link down in this video in the description section. Click on that link. Let's have a one-on-one consultation. There's a small fee for that, but trust me, it's nothing compared to what you're going to learn. I'll be able to discuss with you your circumstance. I'll give you some ideas on how you can start building wealth, start accelerating your life in a way that is so significant you will not recognize yourself in the next few years. Right? So one of the things you need to realize, one of the things as an immigrant, wherever you are in this world, especially if you're in Canada, in America, is that your best choice to real significant wealth is not the money you make working every day, but it's how you use that money to duplicate it on a daily basis without you putting your physical energy to use. You have to understand there is a time in your life when your physical body is not going to be able to deliver for you. I am 49 years old now. I feel my body already. Thank God I had started building some pipelines to generate revenue for me. And I'm still building on that aggressively. So that way, by the time I'm 55, 60 years old, I have passive income coming into me. Passive income could be through stocks on the stock market. It could be through cash flow from rental properties. I am not big on real estate yet. I'm not big on rental properties yet because I really believe very genuinely that there is more returns on the stock market than in real estate. And real estate needs a lot of capital. It's capital intensive. But I just wanted to share this with you today to let you understand that it's not impossible. It's not rocket science. It is not difficult. It is just the desire to be able to tell yourself, hey, you know what? Why, instead of eating an apple today, why don't I plant some of it so that I have 30 trees of apples? I have an orchard in 20 years. And that orchard will permit not only me to eat, my children to eat, my grandchildren to eat, and generations that come after me to eat. That is how we have to think about these things. I've read a lot of books about the wealthiest families in the world. And it started with somebody just making a decision to say, hey, you know what? I am going to reduce frivolities. I'm going to stop consuming for consumer's sake, and I'm going to start building true assets that can deliver for me and my family for a long time. That is the mindset, guys. If you are an immigrant to America, you're an immigrant in Canada, I want you to listen and understand me what I'm saying. You see, we live in a time today when everybody wants to appear rich. We live in a time today when everybody wants to appear as if they have their shit under control. That's a lie. I coach a lot of people. I help people, teach them how to invest on the market, how to build wealth, how to invest in assets. And when people come to me during the information gathering session, I get perplexed. I meet people who are 55 years old, have been working for 25 years, and in their retirement accounts, in their brokerage accounts, in their 401ks, they only have $100,000, $78,000. They are 10 years away from 65 years old, when life really starts getting very, very demanding in terms of resources, and they are not prepared. They are not prepared. If you are one of those, get together with me as soon as you can. Let's have a conversation on this, right? And even if you are not one of those, even if you're in the 20s, you're in the 30s, you still have time. So that's an advantage on your side. That's when you have to be building significantly. That's when you have to invest as fast as possible. So that way you build that significant traction, that significant value, and then it can start multiplying for you. Now, if you're new to this channel, go ahead, please like the channel, of course. Click on the subscribe button. Move me up to about a thousand subscription, so that way I get to actually continue to build and foster this channel. I appreciate all your attention. I appreciate you coming to the channel. Leave me a comment down in the comment section if there is some specific topics you would like me to talk about. But I want to remind you about something, that you deserve to be wealthy. You deserve to be successful with your life. You deserve to live a life like nobody else did. But the only thing is, you must make the sacrifices now. You might live like nobody is living right now, so that way you can have the things nobody can have tomorrow. I wish you a fine day. I pray that you continue to be blessed and never stop being a blessing to somebody. Until the next time, take care, and I'll see you at the top.